Vietnam has already latched onto my heart in both good and not so good ways. Xin chào các bạn, mình là Brooklyn Day. Hi everyone, my name's Brooklyn. My first 24 hours in Vietnam may be like any of your days, but so many things stood out to me as an American. I want to share with you my perspective of how special this place truly is. Getting through the airport was a breeze. Nội Bài Airport truly reflects Vietnam as a modern country. As I exited the airport, I felt like a celebrity because so many people were standing outside waiting. My husband was also outside with the rest of the people waiting for me. This was the moment I had been dreaming of for the last 2 months that we were apart. My heart was warm by seeing him, but also my body was warm because it was adjusting to the 45-degree day. Back in America, when I left, it was about 10 to 15 degrees still, so there was a lot of adjusting to do. As we exited the airport, I was struck again by how cheap everything in Vietnam is. The fee for parking was about 15,000 dong, whereas in America, the fee for short-term airport parking would have been anywhere from 80,000 to 250,000 dong. Needless to say, this is a huge difference. It was the holiday weekend of April 30th, so traffic was light and we were able to go fast. The city was quieter than normal, which felt like a welcome to me as a small-town American. I got back to the house late, probably around 11:30 p.m. My in-laws were still up, waiting to welcome me, and my mother-in-law even had a hot bowl of pho waiting for me, which was wonderful after over 24 hours of flying. This was a big difference from the typical American family. In Vietnamese culture, people think it would be rude or disrespectful to not stay up and wait for a guest. Whereas in American culture, hosts expect their guests to understand that it is late and rest is needed for the next day, so it is okay to wait to say hello until the next day. For example, last year when my husband, then fiance, came to visit me in the States, we got back to my parents' house around midnight. All of my family was already in bed, sleeping for the night. My mom did have a hot meal waiting for us though, which was nice. I guess this also highlights the nightlife culture of Vietnam, contrasting to how in America, things can close even as early as 7 p.m. Anyways, I felt the warm welcome from my mother-in-law, and I was excited for the nightlife culture of Vietnam. My sister-in-law told me later about something my father-in-law did to welcome me. Before I got to the house, he was insistent upon turning on the living room AC, even though it would be over an hour until I got there. She actually argued with him a little bit, saying that there was no need to turn on the AC yet. But he persisted, saying that he wanted to welcome me to a comfortable home and keep the room cool. At the time, I didn't know to notice this small detail because in America, we leave the AC on 24/7. But here in Vietnam, we only turn the AC on if absolutely necessary and only if we are staying in the room. I did feel the warm welcome from my in-laws. Even though they had no words in English to say to me, their actions spoke much louder than words. Waking up the next day, I was again struck by the hosting culture of Vietnam. Without asking, my mother-in-law took my dirty laundry, washed it, and returned it clean. And my sister-in-law already had plans for us to go out and have a girls' day, getting our nails done. That day, we went to the Aeon Mall food court for lunch. I do have to say, it did feel a little overwhelming for me. It felt like everyone was at the mall that day. I normally don't mind being the only one different, but that day one detail struck me. I was actually the only one with blonde hair. Normally in America, I'm able to pick my husband out in a crowd because he is one of the few people with dark hair or one of the few people with black hair. But that day, it would have been easy to lose him in a sea of Vietnamese heads. But it was okay because he was wearing a bright tie-dye shirt that day. The food court was a maze of food. There were not only Asian food options, but also a small taste of home in the grilled chicken salad I ate. I was excited to not only have so many options for sushi, but also options that were cheaper and better quality than in the States. I actually had to snap a picture of all the sushi and send it to my sister in the States to make her jealous. One thing Vietnam could do better, though, is to not have so much plastic waste from individually wrapped sushi. After eating, we wandered around the mall just window shopping. I was impressed by the cleanliness of all the corners of the mall. In America, sometimes malls can be dirty, but this was no American mall. I was also impressed by the customer service of all the employees. Even if we were just looking in a store with no intent to buy anything, the employees were so eager to help answer questions and help us find things in the store. In America, it can be difficult to find employees to even ring you up at the cash register. I was impressed by how many American stores there were there, stores like Lush or even the Crocs store. And there were so many American restaurants, even though I'll probably never go in them. Stores like KFC or Dairy Queen were a familiar sight that made me feel like home. And even non-American stores I was excited to see, like Miniso or Jysk or Muji. And let's talk about Muji. The only Muji I had ever been in before was in Dubai. But your Muji in the Aeon Mall is better than Dubai. I didn't know Muji had so many things to offer, like even household items. Walking in there was so serene and offered some peace and quiet from the loud giveaway happening in the middle of the mall. I had never seen such a level of excitement like that before. I've had fun sharing with you my experiences in the first 24 hours living in Vietnam. Vietnam has already latched onto my heart in both good and not so good ways. I'm excited to tell you of my experiences later in the coming episodes. Okay, so goodbye for now. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next episode.